Hello everyone, this is the Jovi Talk podcast. I just wanted to get on and speak about, address the whole Tico Torres thing that's been going on recently. So, literally a simple question, that's all it was. I read a rumour, I don't even want to use the word rumour because that's what people are kind of throwing out there. I read a post on Jovi Talk, the forum, the Dry County forum, and basically that post, all it said was they'd been listening to the David and his daughter's podcast, and on there apparently he said me and John are the only ones left, or something along them lines. We're the ones still standing, something along them lines. I generally can't even remember what it was now. And with that, obviously, the question then was, has Tico left, has Tico retired, so on and so forth, and it was basically a discussion. To which I then, seeing that, messaged a friend, Jimmy, who has obviously been on the podcast and spoke about him a few times, messaged him asking the same question I asked on the Jovi Talk Twitter, and I just said, has Tico retired? Have you heard anything about it? I haven't listened to the podcast. This must have been about, I can't even remember, 9 o'clock or something like that at night. I just know it was the evening because I think I'd just finished work, or I was just finishing work, something like that. So I know it was evening time at some point. And in all honesty, I've got no desire to watch the David. I don't even know what it's called. The podcast with David and his daughter. It does nothing for me. Every time I've seen it, I've kind of just cringed a little bit. It just does nothing for me. And once I seen that post and they said that it was on that podcast, obviously I wanted to find out from someone who has watched it. To which I then put on a Jovi Talk. Has Tico retired? Question mark. I've just read this, that. And that was it. It was a simple question. All people had to do was say, yeah, I listened to the podcast and no, it doesn't sound like he has, which people did. And I replied with, fair enough, sounds okay. I didn't say, I didn't put in bold letters with a photo of Tico so everyone panicked. Tico Torres has left Bon Jovi. Tico Torres retires. I didn't put anything along them lines. I didn't put, I have just heard that, a rumour that. I didn't do anything like that. All I done was put the question out there because, in all honesty, I can't be asked to listen to their podcast. It does nothing for me, as I said. I don't find it funny. I find it quite cringeworthy. I don't think it brings David into a good light, and I quite like David from, other interviews and stuff, and what you hear from the band and people close to him. I quite like, his human stuff, but I don't really like the podcast. So it was, when I've got 10,000 followers or whatever it is on X or Twitter or whatever, it's just easy to ask on there. That's all it was. I didn't put it out there for these pages to start making headlines and stuff like that. As I said, it was a simple question. I can't believe it's actually got the backlash from, well, I can believe it, but I can't believe it's actually propelled into this big thing where, another fan has to come out and go, I have just had the news regarding this and stuff like that. It didn't need to go that far. And then, it died off for, I don't even know when it posted, it was about a week ago, something like that. Once someone, said, I've watched it and it doesn't sound like that at all, I was like, okay, fair enough. I hadn't even thought about it. I think one page had come up on me own Facebook, and it was, rumours that Tico Torres has left, and I clicked it and it said, literally, it put my tweet out basically, and I was just like, it's just mad from a question. And then, as I said, I forgot all about it for about a week, and then I was at an event on Monday night, didn't get any signal until like midnight. As I was leaving, looked at it, and somebody had said, Matt's put a post up basically, saying not to listen to these rumours from basically me, but then also saying AI pages have made stuff. But yeah, I'm just coming on here to say, I've never done it to start a rumour for one. I asked a simple question. I've said that multiple times now on X and stuff like that. There has been stuff in the past, and I've admitted to it. I've put it out, and I've done it to see what response I get from things, and this generally wasn't it. It wasn't to blow up or to get people talking. It generally wasn't that. It was, has Tico retired? Question mark. I've just read this, blah blah blah, and I think I put where I read it, or I put that what somebody had stated. I can't even remember the tweet. I probably should have looked before I put this video up, but I just read it. I just posted it, and I just thought, you know what? As I said, 10,000 people who follow the page and people who don't follow the page, who still look at it, they're gonna confirm what happened in that podcast for me, and if so be it. Whatever the answer is, so be it. I'm not going to lose any sleep if Tico retired. I'm not going to lose any sleep if he stays or whatever. It was generally a question. I love Tico. I think he is the heartbeat of the band, or certainly now anyway. I love him live and stuff like that. I think he's someone I watch constantly when they're on stage. So, but yeah, it was just a simple question, and I can't believe it's got the reaction that it's got, and it just goes to show that sometimes you can't even ask a question without getting called negative. I seen the comments on Facebook and stuff like that, and I was reading them, and some of them are nice towards Tico, and then I'd read one and it would be like, oh, that Bon Jovi talk always does this. There's one thing that I've never done, is try and speculate. I've never put a post up to, put a rumour. If I've heard something, I'll ask the person that's told me, can I post this, and either say it's from you, or can I just say I have heard this, and I'm just giving information that I've been passed on. And if you go through all my tweets, it'll take you a long time, but if you went through them, I don't think there's many that are wrong. I remember someone pulled me up on one from 2013 or something mad like that, saying, oh, you said you were in this city, but I got my photo with them that day. I probably put up the wrong day, like something like that. It's just baffling. It really is baffling. But this is what, social media is like. This is what it's like when people don't like you and stuff like that. And so be it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over Matt or the usual suspects putting a post up, and whatever they want to do. If they think it was a bad post that I put up and a negative post and stuff like that, then they're more backwards than I think, because it generally wasn't that. It wasn't the case. I put it up just to get someone to confirm it, because as I said, I really can't be arsed listening to that podcast, and I'm not going to try and. I just don't want to listen to it, in all honesty. So yeah, that's basically all I've come on for, just to kind of clarify that, throw it out there. It's made me laugh, I'll be honest, more than anything, but it also, when you're reading stuff and you're going, hold on a minute, you're lying. Someone had the cheek the other day to say, Bon Jovi talk or whatever just posts false information, when, let's be honest, I think Matt may said that, or somebody else anyway, let's be honest, the Bon Jovi account itself, is an embarrassment. The amount of things they've got wrong. There was a video of John from 2021 or something like that the other day that Jerry put up and quickly deleted, because he said it was a recent video. So that got quickly taken down, literally a day or two before he started saying that I put stuff up that's wrong. So if that doesn't say it all about Bon Jovi and the organisation, then I don't know what will. But yeah, it is what it is. As I said, just want to come on here, say, I put it up to, it wasn't to speculate, it wasn't to get headlines out there on pages or newspapers, or, have media call Matt up. To call Matt up. It wasn't anything like that. It was literally just to say, I've just read this. Does anyone know if it's true? Simple question. It wasn't hard to answer. And I know people are probably going, yeah, but all you had to do was go. I know all I had to do was go on the podcast. I couldn't be asked. It's quicker to get information these days anyway on Twitter. As I said, it was probably late evening when I posted it. I even finished work at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, got home. I have a shower off, me tea. If the baby's still up, give him a cuddle before he goes to bed. And that's my night. So, yeah, if you think I've got any time to listen to a podcast like that, I later in the evening, I haven't. So it's quicker to put it up. Someone replies within a minute on social media these days, and I got the answer quite quick, and I said, oh, fair enough. And it was from a reliable person who I've met in person and stuff, who answered and said, no, this was it. So yeah, I've got a podcast anyway. Let's go back to some positive news. So yeah, it's been a while since obviously I had a guest on and stuff like that. As I said, I don't really have the time to do stuff. I'm in work now and post a video again. I know it's not ideal. I know it's not really about a podcast as such. This I was called Jovi Talk podcast, but I haven't done a podcast for ages. But I've actually got a decent guest, a very good guest on Tuesday, I think. Tuesday morning. That's what we've agreed to anyway so far. So if we can get that penciled in and ticked off, I'll do that. I'm gonna have to film that in work. So I'm gonna have to shut the doors and make sure nobody comes in the office and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna get that done. And hopefully, that gets the juices flowing for some more podcasts, because I do enjoy them. And the only thing is, I've said it for the last couple of years, there's not been much to talk about now, and I don't want to keep doing stuff. This one I felt like was worthy of just making a quick 10-15 minute video and talking about what happened. There's been no news really. These days, anniversary got overlooked. Surprise, surprise, we got a t-shirt, woo. And the Blaze of Glory one did the other day for the 35 years or whatever it is, and we got a snippet of a remixed version or whatever they called it, which was nice to get something different, but still not what we want. But hopefully, as I keep saying, and the band keeps saying, there's stuff in the pipeline, it's going to be exciting, things like that. Let's hope it is, and let's hope we get something soon. But for now, Tuesday's going to be the next podcast with the guest. I'll probably post it in the next few days, or the few days after that. And hopefully, as I said, that gets the juices flowing for some more podcasts. But yeah, thanks everyone.